Class 8. So welcome to all. I hope that you have started writing the question answers of the chapter Comet 2. Have you started? Have you started? Or any doubt in those questions, or is it fine? Clear? Just put your thumbs up if yes or no. Clear to all? Now today we are going to start with the next part of the chapter Comet 2, as you were very excited at what will happen, whether that comet would hit the earth or the earth will be saved. Okay, so in first chapter, who will tell me what we have read? Who will tell me what we have read in order to relate? Who will tell me? Just raise up your hands. Yes, who will tell me? Yes, Khyati, you can speak.
Yes, ma'am.
In first chapter, what you have read? Khyati, can't you speak better? Rhythm, speak. I have unmuted. Any problem? Rhythm, I have unmuted you twice and thrice. What happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Now speak. What we have read in the
Ma'am, in previous chapter, we have read about
comet.
the comet. It was a
What it was? Okay, Soumil, yes, you can speak. Very good. Soumil is again not able to unmute himself. Yes, Soumil, what happened?
Ma'am, yes.
What we have read in part 1 of this chapter, Comet 1.
Ma'am, in the part 1, we have read how the amateur astronomer named as Datta has got the telescope, 8-inch telescope named as Divya Chakshu, and he one day discovered a comet, and the comet was named after his name, Comet Datta, and there was an it was approved by IIA because they have 90 inches telescope, and then there was many ceremonies and functions organized to welcome the Dutta, and in the foreign Dr. James Forsyth has written a paper has written a manuscript in which he had written about the comet Datta collision with the planet Earth, and the great scientist, defense science advisor John McPherson, he has uh, he has
Then ultimately in the paper, what was in that manuscript, what was published, it was mentioned that exactly after 10 months, this comet is going to collide with the earth, and that would be the end of the entire life on the earth, and all human race will vanish from this earth. Later on, James Forsyth and as well as Dr. Johnson, they have decided, they have come up to a conclusion to conference or international conference from for all of the experts all over the world, right? So now conference is organized. Now here comes Comet 2. Now let us see what will happen. By the time they finished their deliberations, Sir John dropped him at his hotel off Regent Street. It was 1 a.m. So now when they finished their deliberations, means discussions, then what happened? Sir John, he has dropped him. He has dropped him where? At the name at this hotel, okay, Regent Street. And what was the time? It was 1 a.m. See how important the discussion was. There was hardly any crowd on the street, but when James looked up from his window, a star-studded means the sky filled completely with stars. Greeted him means welcomed him. So there was no crowd on the street. Why? Because it was of course late night. No one was coming out of the houses. But when James he looked up from the window, he looked at the sky, which was completely covered with stars, and he welcomed him. Somewhere amongst these stars was Comet Datta heading for a collision with the Earth. And in between these stars, what was there? He was thinking that there is Comet Datta, and he was daily or with each and every minute, it was moving further for its collision with the Earth. It was hard to believe the calamity of the future on such a peaceful night. He thought that it was really very difficult to believe the calamity means this kind of destruction of future would happen on this kind of peaceful night when everybody would be sleeping. For a moment, James wondered if he had done his sums right. Now he thought, I think that my calculations would be right. Okay, so that the exact time can also be calculated. Whatever doubt James may have had about Sir John's efficiency were quickly dispelled. Dispelled means moved away. Okay, dispelled means moved away. So what is dispelled means they were moved away, sided away or removed. Okay, whatever the doubts James have about Sir John's efficiency, they were quickly dispelled when he reported for the conference and found that all the experts listed by him were there. So James had bit of, you can say, a doubt about efficiency of Sir John, but these all doubts were removed. They were sided away when he reported for conference, when he went for conference, and there he found that all the experts with whose name was there in the list, he was still there. Astronomers, computer scientists, nuclear physicists, space technologists, biologists, all were there. We scientists from each and every field. Because you know, in science, no, there is not a single field which we cannot relate with another. Earlier, there was just three main streams. Zoology, that was study of animals. Botany, study of plants. Okay? Right? And now later on, biotechnology. It means technology is also related with biology. Okay? Now, there are many other streams, okay, which are interrelated. Okay? So now, these days, you know, new vocations, they are coming into being. So science is actually physics and bio is related. Bio and chemistry is related. Chemistry and physics is related. Means each and every, you can say, topic of science is interrelated with the other. So this is the reason why if it is for astronomy, not only physics, but scientists including nuclear physics, space technologists, biologists, all were there. And as Sir John's special invitee was present, the man who had started it all, Manoj Datta. And finally, there was also sitting that person who was the discoverer of this, you can say, planet, this comet, and whose name was Manoj Datta. So what was the complete name of Datta? It was Manoj Datta. Underline it. Not even in the first chapter we come to know the name of the discoverer, but here only we have come to know his name. The conference lasted 1 week and went on under total cover of secrecy. Total cover of secrecy means for how long this conference, this discussion lasted? 1 week. And finally, it was completely under secrecy. There was not any kind of, you can say, discussion and all that. Okay. So, first the experts checked and rechecked James Forsyth's calculation with the latest observations of Datta. First of all, experts were given the data which Datta and James Forsyth has given. Okay, and experts, they were given the data, do the calculation. Is there any mistake? They were doing calculations with complete, let's say, observation. He was right. There was no escape from the direct hit predicted by him. He thought, yes, the calculations were absolutely right. There was no mistake, and definitely we are not save ourselves from the direct hit, because as predicted, this comet Datta would hit the earth in the coming months, after 10 months. There was a small chance that the comet may just graze the atmosphere of the earth and not collide. So they said there is just a very small chance when we think that this comet will not collide earth, or it will just move around or do anything else. In that case, the loss of life and property would not be total. But this slight respite means rest or relief. What is respite? Respite means rest or relief. But this short respite was hardly reassuring enough for taking no action. But this slight respite means this is just this one chance that when we think, yes, maybe the collision will not happen, or maybe there will be no collision. This was just a momentary, means we can think for a moment only. And it is not stopping us that we should not take any action against this comet, okay? Because out of, you can say, 99 out of 199% chances are there that this comet is definitely going to collide with Earth, and just 1% chance is there when they are thinking maybe this happen, maybe this planet would not collide with Earth. Having decided that some action was needed, what form should it take? So now they were deciding, they were thinking, now suppose we need to take an action. So what kind of action is to be taken? Now this is the thing. Now they know we have to stop that collision. But what should be done to stop that collision? It is not like that ball is coming or ball is moving on the earth, we can stop the ball, because it is moving in space. It's moving in universe. We don't have any place to stand on. How can we stop that ball, that comet coming towards us? Experts dismissed defensive measures like living in underground bunkers. It was simply not a practical proposition. Proposition means, you can say, when they have proposed an idea. Okay. So the only course was to take offensive action. Now, offensive means to control it. Offensive means to completely stop it. Now they said, some of the experts, they said, we cannot protect. Defensive measures means we cannot protect ourselves. We cannot defend ourselves. Okay. Why? Because if we think that in order to save ourselves from this kind of collision, maybe we make some underground bunkers in which we can save ourselves, so that when collision will hit, only upper part of the earth will be affected, not ours, not deep inside the earth. But he said this was of course not practical. It is not possible. How many people are there on the earth, and how many of them will be able to save themselves? It is not possible to make such big kind of bunkers underground so that all of the world can go there. Not at all possible. So the only course was to take offensive action, but the only thing is that to take this kind of action which would definitely stop the coming of this kind of, you can say, movement of Comet Datta. Now, Comet Datta could be marginally deflected from its path by giving it a push. Now, marginally means very little. Now, the only thing is that if we will push Comet Datta a bit, his path of movement will be changed. Suppose you are running in a straight line, someone pushes you, then you move to a side. This is the thing they were thinking. They were thinking that we would give a push to Comet Datta so that it can be, so that its path can be changed. But now how can this be changed? Is it an easy process? Is it an easy process? No, not at all. This is not an easy process. So the experts calculated that the bulk of destructive nuclear power available on Earth would be needed to achieve this mammoth task. Mammoth means very large. Okay, giant level. Mammoth task. Mammoth task means extremely large. It is extremely large. or giant level, or it is that of giant level, that in order to accomplish this kind of giant level task, what is there? A great, gigantic, very large nuclear explosion must be there. Okay. So what kind of this nuclear explosion? So in order to produce this kind of nuclear explosion, this kind of nuclear blast, you imagine that how much nuclear material is required. Okay. So maybe this is not available on Earth now. And this suitably, a gigantic nuclear explosion suitably placed, suitably directed, and suitably timed could do the trick. Now, what is the requirement? This nuclear explosion, it must be properly placed. They should know that at this place we have to carry out this explosion, and in this direction the matter would go, and all the particles after explosion, they will go in this direction and at this particular time, because there is a time when, suppose here it is placed, nuclear explosion, and comet is passing. Suppose it passed and then it explodes, then explosion will go waste. So exact time that when from that place that comet would pass, there would be collision. Exact time, exact place, and exactly in the same direction. This has to be placed. So this could be done by placing nuclear payload. Nuclear payload means all the equipment in a spaceship, sending it to intercept the approaching comet and detonating it by remote control. Detonating means by remote control it will explode. You know, during that Dashera, you can say the effigies of Ravan, Meghnath, and Kumbhakarna, they were made to explode with the help of a remote control these days. This is the same thing here, that they were thinking that now this nuclear equipment, where it has to be placed, it need not to be placed on any part of Earth, but it must be given in spaceship, so that with the help of remote control, it will be detonate. Detonate means it will explode. Now, means from Earth they will do all this thing. Now, success or failure, secrecy must be preserved. Now they thought whether it will be successful, whether it will be failure, or what will happen. This must be kept completely secret. Finally, a timetable was drawn up for the operation, which was code named Project Light Brigade. The important dates in it were, so first of all, there was a name given to this project. And what was the name given to this project? It was named as Project Light Brigade. So now you have come to know. So what plan they have made? Just raise up your hands. What plan they have made in order to save Earth? What plan they had made in order to save Earth from this kind of collision? Yes. Who will tell me? Yes, what kind of plan was made by them? Just raise up your hands. That what plan was made by them? Just raise up your hands. Viren, can you speak? You're such a good, you can say, student, but you never give answers in the class. What happened? Somil, can you tell? Yes. Yes. So what happened?
Ma'am, big nuclear explosion in the space to divert the path of the comet.
Very good. That big nuclear explosion will help divert the path of explosion. Okay. So for this, what is the exact thing that they require? What is the exact thing? Yes, Rhythm. What is the exact thing that they require?
They require a space shuttle in which they have to place some bumps in which and a remote control bumps in which they can fire these bumps and the comet can move its path or destroy.
And for this, exact time, exact direction, and exact place must be chosen, right? So what was the name of this project? What was the name of this project? Yes. What was the name of this project?
Ma'am, Project Light Brigade.
Yes, the name of the project was Project Light Brigade. Now timetable has been made. Now the next thing is that what are the important dates which are mentioned for this project? So now let us see. Yes, first is October 10, that is dispatch the spacecraft with the payload unless by then the comet is already destroyed by natural causes or has changed its path due to unforeseen reasons. Unforeseen means which we cannot be able to predict. So first of all, what is the thing? Now on October 10, what they thought? They decided that on this date, what we will do, we will send the spacecraft with all nuclear equipment required for blast, and it must be sent to that particular place. And but then they were also having this option that we will think, and they were just thinking that maybe by this time, this, you can say, comet, it would have, you can say, it would have been destroyed by some natural causes, because in, you can say, in universe so many reactions are taking place, so many things are happening, that ultimately what happened, sometimes we don't come to know that these type of collisions are taking place. What are asteroids? Then means when, you can say, one comet, it collides with another or with another thing, that pieces that happen to fall, okay, upon Earth, asteroids. So similarly, they thought that maybe because of unpredictable reasons, it may happen that this comet may be destroyed on its own. But on that date, that is October 10, we will definitely send this, you can say, payload in spacecraft to the space. Now next is November 15. If the, it means rendezvous with the comet and detonation of the payload. Okay. Now what is run? It is rendezvous. It can be pronounced as rendezvous. Okay, it's rendezvous. Okay. So now at this point, what will happen? This will be, comet will come in front of the spacecraft, and there will be happen detonation of the payload. Detonation means that there will be spark, the explosion of nuclear matter in December 15. If the experiment failed, this was the day the comet would hit the Earth. Now they were thinking December 15. If the experiment failed on this day, what will happen? The comet will hit the Earth, and if it succeeded, this was the day the comet would pass by at a near but safe distance. But if the experiment is successful, then comet would pass from near the Earth without causing any kind of harm. So here we have come to know three main dates. First is October 10, when the nuclear matter or the payload, it will be sent with the spacecraft. Then November 15, it is the time when there will be final, you can say, face-to-face meeting of comet as well as the payload or the spacecraft. And if the experiment would be successful, on December 15, the comet would pass the Earth from a safe distance. But in case this experiment failed, this was the last day when comet would collide the Earth. Now, the success of the experiment depended on how massive the comet was. Nobody could estimate. Everybody hoped that it was not very massive. So now, what are the chances of success of experiment? They were thinking that comet should not be so large so that it can be destroyed with that kind of payload, nuclear payload. Do you think we will succeed? The Tatta asked Sir John Macpherson for his opinion. During the week, the two had developed considerable affinity for each other. So Dutta, out of his excitement, asked Sir John Macpherson, "Sir, do you think that we will succeed?" Sir Johnson was also not sure. And during that time, what happened? They have developed good affinity, means good relations and good friendship with each other. So this is all that we have to read about Comet Datta. Till now, of course, it was really very, you can say, interesting chapter. Now let us see what will happen to this comet, whether the earth will be saved and what role will be played by Indrani Devi. She was superstitious. She also have to do something in order to make all the grass come at peace. She must carry forward her practices, also religious practices. So this we will read further tomorrow. So very interesting it is going to be.